So I guess I'm a big believer in if it doesn't exist, create it. And last year, during the obvious events of 2020 and the pandemic, our clients found ourselves, I guess, at a cliff edge with a complete decimation of the physical events space and scenes. And they were looking for opportunities to ensure their lead generation and brand awareness didn't fall off the cliff effectively. When you were looking to solutions and products that were available on the marketplace, it was very difficult to find that all-encompassing solution that could position them as a thought leader, that could facilitate meetings, engagement being a key trigger. And I guess we spent a lot of time investigating different platforms, different solutions, different virtual events, solutions that existed, and none of them really made the grade. And that's where we made the decision to invest ourselves and build what we thought the perfect solution would be for our client base.
One of the big drivers behind creating Virtual Visitor obviously was what happened with the coronavirus pandemic. As I'm sure you're all aware, it obviously saw a decimation of exhibitions globally. Working in the B2B marketing space, many of our clients attended events regularly and saw this as one of their primary methods to generate leads and business and drive conversations with their business. With that suddenly gone overnight, we started working with them to understand how they could continue to have those conversations, continue to drive leads and get meaningful engagement and awareness of their business without the ability to physically meet, to drive traffic to stands, exhibitions and hold events within their organization.
For me, 2020, one of the things that will be remembered for is the rise of virtual events, and certainly the rise of the webinar. Webinars seem to have been easily rebadged into the virtual event space. Webinars are ultimately nothing new. They're a very non-linear experience, typically more at the technical end of the scale. And when we think about our clients' marketing mix and the buyer's journey, it's positioned very far into that buying process. And I think when we looked at webinars as a potential solution, I think it's got a very important part to play in the virtual event space and the brand engagement portals to showcase that thought leadership or products. However, what I would say is if you're looking to cut through that digital noise, the rise of webinars has caused there to be such a plethora of choice out there. So unless your content is of real high value, webinars aren't going to cut it in 2021.
So I think one of the great things about Virtual Visitor is if we think about the event space as it typically exists or traditionally exists, let's say, and even in the webinar space, they're typically one-off things. So you can host a webinar on a certain day and it's typically turned off after that. Certainly for exhibitions, they might last from 1 to 5 days, but after that, that's over. It's been a huge amount of resource and energy and money and travel to create these and put them together to drive that experience. But again, once it's over, it's over. And I think that's one of the things that we wanted to address with Virtual Visitors, to make sure that you could get more from that investment. And it was something that could continue to drive interest, awareness, leads for your business over a period of time. So instead of having it as something that's switched off, it should be something that is perpetually available for your audience to come back to time and again, whether that's because you're putting on new webinars, new live sessions, whatever it might be to drive people back to, or whether that's because you've got on-demand content that they can access regardless of the time of day, time zone or location that they are in the world.
I think when you talk about linear selling and the linear sales journey of the past, where you would very calmly and effectively move somebody from A to B throughout that journey, that certainly is in the history books now. And when we look at the non-linear sales journey of today, I like to think Virtual Visitor provides visitors with a kind of a choose your own adventure kind of outcome in a way, that they can make their way around the environment and the experience in a manner that suits them. But you as the client are also getting to track and monitor every step that they take. But in no stretch, everything's there for them to enjoy, but in no stretch are you forcing something down the neck. When you think of a webinar, and you think of the classic webinar experience, you have to be there at a certain time to enjoy a certain type of content with a limited amount of interaction and engagement. Whereas, again, in the virtual visitor experience, it's flooded with engagement opportunities throughout the environment.